morning, everyone. Welcome to Oral Communication in Context. We are now at our seventh week for midterm, and our topic is speech context and speech style. For this week, we will differentiate types of speech context. We will also exhibit appropriate verbal and nonverbal behavior in a given speech context. And we will also practice effective interpersonal skills and intrapersonal skills. So let's proceed to our slides. So there are two types of speech context. We have the intrapersonal and interpersonal. Let's first discuss intrapersonal. For intrapersonal, this refers to communication that centers on one person where the speaker acts both as the sender and the receiver of message. The message is made up of your thoughts and feelings. The channel is your brain, which processes what you are thinking and feeling. There is feedback in a sense. So again, for intrapersonal, this refers to communication that centers on one person, where the speaker acts both as the sender and the receiver of message. The message is made up of your thoughts and feelings. The channel is your brain, which processes what you are thinking and feeling. There is feedback in the sense that as you talk to yourself, you discard certain ideas and replace them with others. Intrapersonal context of speech is also known as self talk or just simply talking to oneself that may include acts of imagination and visualization and even recall and memory. So examples of intrapersonal skills or intrapersonal communication, we have you have spent the night thinking and analyzing why a student from the other class talked to you on the way home, and you decided it probably meant nothing. Also, you felt happy while thinking about how your teacher appreciated you for submitting your project before the due date, and you reflected on why this was so. So, according also to Buffalo State University of New York, they have explained that intrapersonal communication may involve different levels of communication activity. We have the internal discourse, we have the solo vocal communication, and the solo written communication. For internal discourse, it involves thinking and concentration and analysis. Psychologists include both daydreaming and nocturnal dreaming. Prayer and meditation are also part of this category. For solo vocal communication, it includes speaking aloud to oneself. This may be done to clarify thinking, to rehearse a message intended for others, or simply to let off steam. Example for solo vocal communication is talking to yourself as you complain about your boss. And another different level of communication activity is the solo written communication. So as you can see, we have the vocal communication. Now we have the written communication, and it deals with writing not intended for others. An example that we have is an entry in a diary or personal journal. So these are the types of speech context under intrapersonal. These are types of different levels of communication activity under intrapersonal. Again, we have internal discourse, solo vocal communication, and solo written communication. Now we have, and the next type of speech that we have is interpersonal. And for interpersonal, this refers to communication between and among people and establishes personal relationship between and among them. According to Solomon and Thies, they stated that the inter part of the world highlights how interpersonal communication connects people. When you engage in interpersonal communication, you and another person become linked together. The personal part means that your unique qualities as a person matter during interpersonal communication. And also, for interpersonal communication, it involves a direct face to face relationship between the sender and the receiver of a message who are in the interdependent relationship. communication is therefore enhanced when relationship exists over a long period of time. Interpersonal communication involves not only the words used but also the various elements of nonverbal communication. The purposes of interpersonal are to influence, help, and discover, as well as to share and play together. For interpersonal context, we also have different types. We have the dyad communication, small group, public, and mass communication. For dyad communication, it is a communication that occurs between two people. So let's give an example. So you offered feedback on the speech performance of your classmate. Another example is you provided comfort to a friend who was feeling down. So you can see that there is a communication only between two people. Now, next we have is the small group, and this refers to communication that involves at least three but not more than 12 people engaging in a face-to-face interaction to achieve a desired goal. In this type of communication, all participants can freely share ideas in a loose and open discussion. So let's give an example for small group. We have here, you are participating in an organizational meeting which aims to address the concerns of your fellow students. So this might be probably a student organization. Also, you are having a discussion with your group mates on how to finish the assigned tasks. Oh, there is a small group. So as you can see, they are they have the face-to-face interaction trying to achieve a desired goal. Now, next is public, and this type refers to communication that requires you to deliver or send the message before or in front of a group. The message can be driven by informational or persuasive purposes. In public communication, unlike in interpersonal and small group, the channels are more exaggerated. The voice is louder and the gestures are more expansive because the audience is bigger. The speaker might use additional and visual channels such as slides or a PowerPoint presentation. So for public, we have an example here. You deliver a graduation speech to your batch. Also, you have participated in declamation, oratical, or debate contests watched by a number of people. So these are types of public interpersonal speech or communication. Next that we have is the mass communication. And for mass communication, this refers to communication that takes place through television, radio, newspapers, magazines, books, billboards, internet, and other types of media. So for mass communication, given an example here that we have is you are a student journalist articulating your stand on current issues through the school's newspaper. So this is an example of mass communication. So again, we have two types of speech context, intrapersonal and interpersonal. For intrapersonal, we have internal discourse, solo vocal communication, and solo written communication. For interpersonal, we have dyad communication, small group, public, and mass communication. Now let's go on to verbal and nonverbal behavior in speech context. And according to Pierre Philippot and Robert S. Fieldman, conversation analytic work on the relationship between a nonverbal behavior has focused on interactional management and has been concerned with how verbal and nonverbal behavior may be organized to accomplish certain interactional ends. Nonverbal behavior has been conspicuously absent from research in discourse analysis, which is surprising given that it can completely alter the meaning or reading of any utterance. The statement, I hate you, said with a particular intonation and with certainly accompanying nonverbal behavior such as smile, gaze, eye gaze, etc., changes dramatically the underlying meaning, and from a discourse analytic perspective, the action orientation of the utterance. According to Lee and Beatty, they have presented a discourse analytic focus on the action orientation of talk, but in addition, also an analysis of the accompanying nonverbal behavior and some interpretation of how these behaviors are functioning with the respect to talk. So the question asked here in nonverbal behavior speech context is how can nonverbal behavior be used to affect the overall action orientation of the utterance? So there are three broad predictions that were examined. First, when the speech is positive, the nonverbal behavior will also be positive. So examples given is there are more smiles, more positive gestures, and that is for the two channels of communication operate together for effective communication. The second is the antithesis that of the first. So the two channels operate in opposition so that when talk is very negative, speakers offset this negativity with positive nonverbal behavior. The third position is that there is no overall consistent relationship between verbal and nonverbal behavior, but that nonverbal behavior is merely used to mark important transitions within and between turns. So for this one, we have different types of speech style. So for the types of speech style, the context dictates and affects the way people communicate, which results in various speech styles. According to Jews, there are five speech styles. These are intimate, casual, consultative, formal, and frozen. Each style dictates what appropriate language or vocabulary should be used or observed. So for intimate, this style is private, which occurs between or among close family members or individuals. The language used in this style may not be shared in public. We also have casual, and this style is common among peers and friends. Jargon, slang, or the vernacular language are used. We also have consultative, and this style is the standard one. Professional or mutually acceptable language is a must in this style. Examples of situation are communication between teachers and students, employers and employees, doctor and patient, judge and lawyer, or president and his or her constituents. Also, for formal, this style is used in formal setting. Unlike the consultative style, this is one way. Examples are sermons by priests and ministers, State of the Nation address of the president, formal speeches or pronouncement by judges. And last speech style that we have is frozen, and this style is frozen in time and remains unchanged. It mostly occur in ceremonies. Common examples are the preamble to the Constitution, Lord's Prayer, and allegiance to country or flag. So I will show you some videos of the types of speech style that we have. So now I will show you a intimate speech style, intimate speech style. So let's watch this
Yung pala si
video.
Mr. Perez sa ating meeting bukas.
Mr. Perez?
Pa, ma,
Yes?
Ano yun?
may classmates po kasi ako.
O tapos, ano nangyari?
Hindi po sila friendly.
Ha, bakit?
Bad po sila.
Anong gano'n?
Ha? Hello? Hello?
Pag magkakaharap, talaga bang nag-uusap-usap? Ang hapagkainan, gawing hapag-usapan. Dahil ang kain ng pamilya, mahalaga.
So as you can see in the video, there is a intimate, um, there is an intimate communication between the family members, but in this commercial, the parents are not listening to their child, and the commercial is saying that you should have a you should listen to your child while you are in the dining table or during eating. So another, now we have a casual style speech style.
Napagkamalang bakla. Hindi po. Hindi naman ako bakey.
Hindi ka bakey.
Kasi nakakapag-crush din naman ako ng babae.
Hindi ka bakey pero nakapag-crush ka ng babae.
Yes po.
Hindi ka bakey pero nagkaka-crush ka sa babae.
Nagkaka-crush.
Nagkaka-crush.
Ay, nako.
Crush.
Crush po.
Pero hindi ka, Becky.
Yes po.
Totoo.
Oh.
Paano nila? Ano ba sinasabi nila? Ano daw ang batayan nila? Ba't
Oh,
pinapagkamalang
ba't ka na pagkakamalang Becky?
Siguro sa ano ko sa boses ko sa galaw ganun.
Pero, nung bata ka ba, masyado kang dikit sa magulang mo, mamas boy kung tawagin?
Hindi po.
O ba't ganyan ka kumilos? Baka meron kang problema nung bata ka. Kasi mga pahit-pahit, o tumatawa ka, nakatakip na ka.
Oo. Pero hindi ka talaga Becky.
Hindi po.
Pati nga paglakad siya.
Lakad ka nga, lakad ka. Lakad ka, dito. Lakad, ha? Mula dito. Dito. Ayan, okay. Papunta rito.
Wow.
Oo nga. Oh, may gumagana pa sa ilong, eh.
At saka papiki-piki kasing ganun eh.
Oo, mahinhin ka. May lalaki ganyan, mahinhin talaga, eh. No?
Baka sabihin mo sa kanila, mahinhin ka lang.
Mahinhin lang po ako.
Pero para hindi ka magkamalang, Becky, kahit ganito, mag-leather jacket ka.
Favorite color?
Anong favorite color mo? Anong blue yan? Baby blue? Anong klaseng pagka-blue? Kasi marami yan, di ba?
Dark blue po.
Wow.
Ano paborito mong kanta? Blue Bayot?
Color yung blue. Eh.
I am what I am.
Sino favorite mong singer?
Sino?
Sara po.
Sara.
Sara Soto.
Sara Hiromi.
Ay, hindi pa.
Sara Geronimo. Hindi nga, Becky.
Oo.
Basta huwag mo silang intindihin. Ang maganda, mag-shota ka.
Nang?
Ng babae. Para hindi ka pagkamalang, Becky. Tapos, palakimin boses mo. Lakim mo ang boses mo. Hello po.
Sabihin mo nga, bato.
Bato.
Bato, hindi bato.
Sabi niya, bato.
Sabi mo, bato.
Bato.
Hindi, iba yung bato, yun yung ginaganon eh.
Baton yon, baton. Sabi mo, bato. Bato.
Lalaki ako!
Lalaki ako.
Oh.
Lalaki ako. Sinabi ko rin
Kilos,
yan.
yung kilos eh. Yung kilos niya. Kaya
Yung kilos, bossing, mainhin masyado eh.
Oo.
Nag-gym ka ba? Mag-gym ka, kaya maglaro kang basketball.
Hindi rin.
Anong sports mo?
Sa ano po?
Wala rin. Dami kong kilala nag-gym.
Chess po noon.
Mas gusto nga nila sa gym eh.
Oo, nakatambay sa shower lang yun.
Hindi, baguhin mo yung kilos mo ha.
Oo.
Okay po.
Eto, payuhan mo nga.
Wala akong mapapayo.
Doktora,
Si Doktor.
paturuan mo ng tamang kilos.
Dok, ano bang...
Paghulog ka nga ng padampot mo.
Eto,
Okay.
tissue.
Ito, to.
Ayan, tinidor.
Tinidor.
Oh, inulog yung tinidor.
Ay, nahulog.
Damputin mo.
Sige nga, kunin mo.
Wow. May pitik ha.
Balik ka.
Raymart.
Maano yung balakang.
Ayan. Oy, Paolo, nalaglag.
May dumi sa siko.
Wow. Oh, may dumi ka sa siko. Tignan mo nga yung siko mo kung may dumi.
Ay, may dumi sa siko.
Ayun na nga. Oh.
Di na nga.
Oh, ay, tignan mo yung kuko mo, kung marumi. Oh, yun na nga.
Yan na. Siyang siya. Walang duda.
Okay na.
Okay na.
Alam mo yung mga nagsasabi sa yung bakla ka? Mga manghuhula yan
Oo,
mga yan.
mga judgmental.
Magaling manghula.
Magaling manghuhula. Baka nakatapak ka ng jackpot, tignan mo nga. May ano
Ay, may
tsinelas mo
jackpot
kung may dumi.
Ay, may dumi.
Isa lang nga nang nakikita kong solusyon.
Ano po?
Aminin niya na.
So you could see we had an example of a casual speech style. You could see that in the video that I have shown you, the Dober gods are just talking to each other, laughing and smiling to each other. So another video that I will show you is a consultative style.
Conversation.
Good morning, sir. May I help you?
Good morning. I had an appointment with the doctor at 9 a.m.
What's your name, please?
Jack Stone.
Mr. Stone, please take a seat. The doctor will be in a moment. Mr. Stone, come in please, doctor is waiting for you.
Good morning.
Mr. Stone. What's the problem?
I've got a toothache. I think it's in this tooth.
Right, let me have a look. Open your mouth wide. That's good. Does it hurt when I touch it?
Yes, it's very painful.
You've got some bad decay in there. We need to take x-rays to identify tooth other decay. Things look good. I don't see any evidence of further decay.
That's great.
I'm going to have to fill that tooth. First, I'll just get these 2 fillings drilled and taken care of, and then we'll get your teeth cleaned. Rinse out your mouth. How do you feel now?
I feel good now.
Good, and remember to clean your teeth twice a day.
I will. Thank you, doctor.
So we have seen an example of a consultative speech style. Now, for formal speech style, we have the State of the Nation address of the President Duterte, but I will not be going to show it to you since I am very sure that you have already seen some State of the Nation address of the presidents here in the Philippines. So let's go on to our frozen speech style.
Mga bata, ang Panatang Makabayan. Panatang Makabayan, iniibig ko ang Pilipinas, aking lupang sinilangan, tahanan ng aking lahi. Kinukop-kop ako at tinutulungang maging malakas, masipag at marangal. Dahil mahal ko ang Pilipinas, diringgin ko ang payo ng aking mga magulang. Susundin ko ang tuntunin ng paaralan, tutuparin ko ang tungkulin ng mamamayang makabayan. Naglilingkod, nag-aaral at nagdarasal ng buong katapatan. Iaalay ko ang aking buhay, pangarap, pagsisikap sa bansang Pilipinas. Hanggang sa muli.
We have here a frozen speech style. We could see that this is a Panatang Makabayan here in the Philippines. So for this week, we had differentiate the speech style. We have also identified the types of intrapersonal and interpersonal communication, and we have effectively practice interpersonal skills and intrapersonal skills. So for our week's activity for this week, in your modules or handouts or PDF files, we have 2 activities. We have activity 1 and activity 2. For activity 1, we are going to enumerate the types of speech context and describe each. And for activity 2, we will just identify if it is an intimate, casual, consultative, formal, or frozen. I will not require you to answer activity 1. I will only require you to answer activity 2. So for this week, we have some, for this topic, we have some references. Oral Communication in Context, a textbook for senior high school by Apolonio Joshua from Unlimited Books in Drummers, Manila. And we also have Teacher's Manual for Oral Communication in Context for senior high school, retrieved from https://www.teacherph.com. So I will just post the link from DepEd also. So, and we also have a suggested reading, and I will just post you the link for this suggested reading. So again, if you have any questions for this week, don't hesitate to ask me. You may reach me personally at Facebook Messenger, or you may directly ask me at school. Once again, do not answer activity 1, just only answer activity 2, and activity 2 is your only requirement for this week. So once again, thank you everyone, and God bless. Before I end this lesson, I would like to share a Bible verse from the book of Mark chapter 9 verse 23. Said Jesus, everything is possible for one who believes. So thank you so much everyone, and God bless.